This is an introduction to some architects and artists who might be useful for you to look at and research for your constructure project. Feel free to explore more and get inspiration from the built environment, the natural world, or anything else you want to explore. Architects and designers often start exploring their ideas through drawing and model making. It's a lot cheaper than working life size, allows for quick experimentation, and also means they can feel freer to experiment and take risks. Buckminster Fuller developed the Geodesic Dome, a system that is easily scalable, can be produced with different materials, both sheet and stick, and at a small scale can be easily homemade. He looked at the structure of atoms and expanded them, making lots of drawings and models to try out different ideas until he ended up with something that worked. The Geodesic Dome system was used for the Eden project amongst many other structures across the world. Archigram was a group of architects that explored radical ideas that really pushed the boundaries of what might be possible. They combined collage with drawing to present ideas including walking cities, floating cities, plug-in cities, and lots more. Zaha Hadid's buildings look smooth and flowing from the outside, but underneath their skin they have complex structures that require a lot of model making and computer drawing in advance. Sometimes these structures are celebrated and shown off. Antoni Gaudi is most famous for his organic-looking buildings in Barcelona. He used some really unusual techniques to come up with the shapes for them, including hanging bags of sand from rope structures and then turning the image over to create reflective arches. Shigeru Ban likes working with a very specific group of materials, including cardboard tubes. Taking something very simple, he creates elegant and refined structures that elevate their humble beginnings. Gehry, similarly to Zaha Hadid, creates complex structures that look more sculptural and follow flowing forms rather than straight lines. Model making is often the starting point for developing these abstract-seeming buildings. Sarah Say is an artist who turns everyday objects into extraordinary meandering sculptures, connecting numerous items and taking over large space with intricate twists and turns. It's almost as if the model is the sculpture, or the sculpture is the model. Lots of artists, architects and designers create buildings and smaller structures to try out big ideas on a small scale. Here are some pavilions, but have a search to see if you can find some more you like the look of. You can also get inspiration from local structures. The everyday can sometimes be quite surprising. Along the coast in Norfolk we have piers, winter pavilions, gas structures, even roller coasters. Different types of structure are also worth exploring. There are trusses, bridges, frames, and many more. These are just a few ideas to maybe give you some inspiration. If you start looking around, you might find something that sets off an idea and train of thought that leads you somewhere unexpected. Hi, I'm Carvers. I'm from Original Projects. We're an organisation in Great Yarmouth, and I'm here to introduce you to a project that we've called Constructure. It responds to movable estates, and we're thinking about the limitations of materials and the rules that we have in everyday life. We've given you a load of paper straws as the starting point for your project. Paper straws are not the greatest material. They're quite flimsy. You can bend them quite easily, but you can also connect them in different ways to make them stronger. This is about experimentation and exploring the limitations of these straws and combining them with other materials just to see what happens, see what you can make. So you can use tape from around your house. We've got all sorts of tapes. Sellotape, electrical tape in different colours. Parcel tape. You might have some masking tape. So you can just start playing. Tape a couple of bits together, got a joint, maybe bend them over from there. Plasticine, you might have some plasticine or blue tack. This probably won't push into it, but you might be able to mould it round it. Connect onto somewhere else. Tin foil, maybe you've got some tin foil. This has been squashed into a ball. And yeah, you could start taping things off this, thinking of this as a joint or connecting node. Maybe you've got some pins. They should push through this quite easily. Obviously don't put your hands behind there when you're doing it. And if you use pins, then you can make a hinge, so this can rotate. And then you can always cover it up, putting plasticine on the other side. Maybe you've got a ball of rubber bands, or just one rubber band. So you could collect quite a few with that. and then you can just fold them in all sorts of directions.
The band on top of that band.
You can fold the straws together, make some concertinas, scrumple them up. Maybe you've got some string. If you're patient enough, you could thread it all the way through. Connect them in that way. And maybe you've got some scissors, so you can obviously cut these into different lengths, start connecting them in different ways with whatever you've chosen to use. Maybe you've got some bits of wire around the house. That might help make your straws rigid. Make some loops and hoops. This is done with pins, so triangles are quite strong. You can make trusses, architectural forms. You can just start exploring in different directions and see what shapes you make. So now you've seen some different ways of connecting these. Obviously you can make up your own. You can set yourself a challenge, so you could decide to make the tallest object that you can, or maybe make a bridge to span across as far as you can, or make something as strong as you can, or just think about beauty and elegance and try and make something as beautiful as you can. It's entirely up to you. And when you've finished your work, when you've got something that you're happy with, it might be a success, it might be a failure. Failure is no bad thing, because if something collapses, or if it doesn't do exactly what you want to do, then you've learned. You've learned that process didn't take you to where you wanted to go, so you don't do that process again. So you can share your successes or failures. Use the hashtag that you can see here, and tell us whether you think it was a success or a failure, or anything else that you think about it.